And I guess the thing that bothers me more about this than even like what anybody individual person might think is the best way of organizing this kind of effort is the not seeing the distinction between what you're talking about, people who are doing that thankless job of organizing, and people who do what you and I and Jimmy Dore, and like everybody else who talks to a camera are doing, which is not to say that talking to a camera is worthless. That there's no benefit to that. It's just not the same thing. That there are like what left media can do is provide political education and inspiration and entertainment, certainly, right? Own that, and maybe even ideological and strategic clarification, which are all good things. These are all things that the left needs, but they're different things than actual organizing and activism in the real world. There's like talking about politics is important and valuable for lots of reasons, but it's not the same thing as politics.
Totally agree. Absolutely. And I mean, just to give you, I can only speak personally about how people like Michael Brooks, I was not on the left. I mean, I didn't even realize how I wasn't on the left until I started watching Michael Brooks. And he educated me. I mean, he persuaded me in the best possible way to move to the left.
By saying that you were a NATO shill and you were lying, when you said you supported progressive causes.
Like Michael Brooks, I don't really know if people understand how much of a loss Michael's death has been to the left, like, because he was just such a clear, incredibly intelligent communicator, and he had this way of making you realize you're wrong without feeling judged. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's not an easy thing to do. I don't think I've ever came across a single person who can communicate the way that he has. And I find myself going back to, his show's archives and like rewatching things that had an impact on me, because I have to say some of the stuff that's been going on over the last month has, it's just been really hard. And it muddles your mind in certain ways. And it's important to stay focused, right? It's important to not get sucked in to this unnecessary drama, which, has this sole intention of dividing us and making us even less powerful than we are already. So I really do turn to him even now for some guidance and some clarity. So I highly recommend you guys check out his archives. If you're not, a patron to the Michael Brooks Show, you should be, because that's how you have access to all his archives. And I miss him every day. His voice is so desperately needed.
No, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I still, I don't know when I'm going to get to the point where I don't have that like itch to like text him about things that have happened, and to, to get his take, which I couldn't predict, which is a good thing, because that like oftentimes, it would be surprising, but then I would think about it, and like a lot of times I would see his point. Like he had a political intuition that I definitely, relied on while he was alive, and also just for that like kind of like just for the human effect of him just being funny about whatever was going on, which he was. I mean, like he was more. Like the on, like there's probably, I mean, obviously he was more uninhibited about, certain people who annoyed him or whatever, in off camera, but like other than that, right, the gap between the on and off camera versions was just remarkably small there, that he was exactly as funny and exactly as insightful, in both contexts. But yeah, I think absolutely there are, like, I don't think anybody can do quite what he did as a communicator, for the left. Like, I know we talked about this shortly after he passed. There's a video from that you can find on YouTube from not very long before the pandemic started, and where he's speaking at Lafayette College, and he's talking to this room full of college students, and his initial presentation. I mean, it's actually kind of funny, because he's like he has like the kind of, it's like almost like a tweed jacket or something on. He's leaning against the chalkboard. It's almost like the alternate timeline Michael, who became a college professor, but which I'm sure he would have killed at, if he'd done. But I think those would have been really good student evaluations every semester.
Totally.
But he,
no, I love. Can I just comment on that real quick? Like, I just love the swagger. Like, he had this swagger during that talk. That's just like, I just love it. And he handled the most annoying questions masterfully. Like, I don't know if most people would have the kind of patience he did. And that's what I'm talking about. I mean, if you watch that video, if you watch that full talk, which I think is about like 3 hours long, but it's worth it. You'll notice exactly what I'm referring to, where he has this way of letting you know through like historical context and all of that you're wrong, right? Yeah. You don't feel like he's judging you or mocking you. You feel that he respects you and just wants to like open your mind to a different perspective. And Michael and I got close through Jimmy Dore, believe it or not, because I saw him making fun of Jimmy Dore and I was like, I kind of love this. And I like DM'd him one day and I was like, you totally get what's going on. Because at that time, I don't think most people were privy to, some of the issues surrounding Jimmy Dore, but like Sam Cedar and Michael Brooks got it. And so that's how we started talking. And then we started talking about political issues. And that was when he really started to open my mind up to leftist politics. And I'm so grateful for that, because it reinvigorated news and politics for me, because I started to see things from a different lens, a much more interesting lens. And I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I certainly, like in the talk itself at Lafayette, like the actual like initial presentation that he makes to the students, it's everything that was good about Michael's a communicator. It's funny. It's got that it's got that Michael Brooks swagger. Like I always think of the time, actually, not that long before everything locked down, when he finally met my wife, after years of my working with Michael, and she made a comment to him about how every time I see Ben watching YouTube, it's either Bernie Sanders or you, and he was like, yeah, that's correct, that's what you should watch. That's so just totally right. But
I love it.
So you get all of that, right? And also like very clear, like concise explanations. Like in that talk, he's like basically giving Adolf Reed's point about anti-essentialism in like 3 minutes in this way that's like for 19-year-olds who've never heard of any of this. And it's very clear. It's really compelling. And he just like then moves on to like making jokes about Brandon and stuff. But yeah, the part that I like the most about it is what you just said, that students are asking him some, look, I mean, like some of these are pretty annoying college Democrat kinds of questions. And it would be really easy to imagine somebody with Michael's politics responding to that by making fun of them, or, just sort of like posturing for like whatever points it would get him from anybody in the audience who agreed with him, or anybody who'd be watching it on YouTube later. But he doesn't do any of that, right? Like he has like this, there's one moment when there's like just a little bit of that when somebody asked him like a weird question about whether he was like a self-hating Jew because of his position on Palestine, but that's like it. Other than that, he's giving these answers that are really smart answers, but they're also answers where you can tell it's really important to him that he can like make the case for his position in a way that they'll take seriously, that's going to connect to their worldview. So like it's going to mean something to them. And that's just something that he was doing all the time. And I mean, obviously the way that he could do that was really unique, but there is a more general thing here that everybody could, try a lot harder to do, to the best of all of our ability, with how we interface with everybody who doesn't agree with us yet, because unfortunately, because that is most people, right? Like in like, you know, yeah, 71 million people voted for Donald Trump. Everybody else, several million people more, voted for Joe Biden, which, given the choice, is the right thing to do. But it's also like, Joe Biden won the Democratic primaries. We lost that, right? And especially if you have political horizons that go beyond, what Bernie Sanders is talking about, then you really need to think about how far we are from convincing most people, which isn't to say that you need to back down on anything. It isn't to say that you need to stop saying things that you think are true or making critiques you think are important, but it is maybe worth thinking, like, how is this going to register with anybody out there in the wider world who isn't already on board, which is like the overwhelming majority of the public is not on board yet with what the socialist left is talking about.
Right. I mean, it really goes back to questioning what your objectives are. Are your objectives centered on this self-image of being like the top leftist, the most left on the left, or is your objective to persuade people to join us? Right. And so if you want to, show everyone that you're the most pure, then sure, go around like punching people in the face and pretending like you're holier than thou and the best. But I'm interested in persuading people to join us because we need numbers, we need people. And the power of persuasion is, part of it is validating the real concerns that people have, not judging them for having those concerns, and finding ways to provide leftist solutions to the concerns that they have. And I know people are doing that on the ground. I know the organizers are doing that, as we speak. And I think attacking them is the worst way to go about this. I think joining them, validating the work that they do, supporting the work that they do, amplifying the work that they do through our programming, I think is a better way to go about this. And also just being skeptical of people who seem to have some weird, vested interest in dividing us. Like, I think that just that alone has been an issue over the last month. And I engaged in it and I regret engaging in it. And I've just kind of decided, like, I'm going to log off because, again, focus on what's important, focus on what matters, and just try to get people on board. That's really all we can do right now.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And look, I'm sure there definitely were times in all of this when I got way angrier, at people than I should have. I don't have any doubt about it, actually. Like, I think this is something that when I was talking to Thaddeus Russell before I interviewed him on the show, this is something I actually kind of realized in that conversation, because I told him, in passing, that I actually don't usually like get angry at like libertarians who I argue with. Like, I just sort of think, yeah, of course they're wrong. I mean, that's just like a given, right? They're going to be wrong. I get angry at leftists, like that, because it's, because I guess my expectations are higher, because I see them as, identified with me. So when I think that they're doing ridiculous things, I do get angry at that, which is counterproductive usually. Like, it's way better, 99% of the time, it's better to either not engage with that stuff, or if you do engage with it, force yourself to do it in a better way. But I'm definitely that's definitely a work in progress. Which is something which is actually also a Michael Brooks thing. I mean, he would definitely tell, like, he was super disciplined about not about what he engaged with and what he didn't engage with, and how he did it, right? He might be spicy over text messages or whatever, but like, when any kind of like public facing anything, even like replying to somebody on Twitter or something, he knew what he was doing there.